I am with Mr. Greg Evans, the proprietor of the Loop Roller Skating Rink. And which other rink did you own, Mr. Evans?
Olympic Skate World.
Okay, so we're going to table that rink for a different conversation. I really
Good.
wanted to, first of all, thank you for getting back to me because I was going through emails and I noticed that I had reached out to you in 2012 in the early stages of my roller skating research, and I just sent an email thinking, I said, well, the only thing I can do is give it a shot. And you responded, and here we are. So thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Um, tell me a little bit about yourself as well. Who is Mr. Evans, and then we'll go into the rink. What made you? I mean, like, what made you start? Apparently, you had an entrepreneurial spirit.
Hmm.
So, when you opened the loop, first of all, when did the rink open?
September 1976.
And what made you open the rink?
Well, we saw that it was real profitable, and I knew about running rinks. I ran the ice rink at Lake Forest College, and I had the opportunity to skate in some of the roller rinks before I went to college. And it was just something that was booming back then, you know.
Very much so.
Uh, yeah, we found a good piece of property, and rest is history. We put together one of the best rinks in America, you know, for about, I say, 8 years.
So you
Yeah,
guys ran from 1976 to 1984.
87, but we only the top rink for about 8 years.
Okay, so and how old were you when you started that rink?
22.
And what made, okay, so you saw it, and I guess what made you a visionary at 22? Because I'm almost certain, and then based on a lot of the other rinks I researched, a lot of the owners were more mature,
Yeah.
definitely not in their 20s.
Well, I had a business at 10 years old, a lawn care business at my home. And I was making as much as my mother. She was a Chicago school teacher. So I've been in business since I was 10.
Okay,
Yeah. And then I had a paper route and a snow removal service.
so
So,
yeah,
yeah,
so yeah, entrepreneur is your life.
yeah.
Entrepreneurship is your life.
I've been working for myself at that point since I was 10. So almost 12 years, you know.
So how did you fund this rink? Because rinks are expensive.
Yeah. It was a A&P store on 95th and Eggleston went out of business. And we bought it for about 450,000 and put 400,000 in it back at the time, you know.
Okay.
So we had an advantage over a lot of rinks because it was so huge. We had two huge floors and a parking lot for 270 cars.
Okay. Yeah, 270 pounds. But where did you get the 400K from?
Um, when I left Lake Forest, I had about 100,000.
Okay.
Adjusted for inflation, it's about 500,000 now. And that's just from running the ice rink and the lawn care business I did up there with a guy and different stuff. So and then we borrowed money from the bank,
Okay.
Seaway Bank.
And I wanted to be known that Seaway Bank was a black-owned business,
Right,
black-owned bank in Chicago.
right.
Seaway Bank. Okay, so how did you get started? And when I say get started, how did you learn I mean, you had the rink business, well, you had the experience from the ice skating rink. Was it the same thing as running a roller skating rink?
No, it was a lot different. My father was my partner, and he was ended up being the first vice president of Metropolitan Life. So he had a lot of business acumen that we used, and he stayed with the rink business for about a year. And he decided it was just too hectic for him, so he moved to Florida at 50. So um, the basic skills to run a rink, I probably learned that in college, running an ice rink. Ice rink is a little harder to run because of the ice and the running of the Zamboni, whereas a roller rink, you just have to deal with a wooden floor. But the system is pretty much the same.
Okay. So on your opening night, how did you spread the word about the rink opening? Or it was easy
Very easy. We had
because of
515 people
your very first night?
first night.
And what was the
500,
rink capacity?
400.
So what was the did you have any celebrities on opening night, or it was just a big to do because we have a roller rink in the neighborhood?
We had a lot of people. We had
I'm talking about
Herb
opening
Kent,
night though.
opening night. Herb Kent, the cool gent, was there.
Okay.
He was big in Chicago back then, and I really there was a lot of people. It was so hectic that they just came by. They didn't stay, and it was a big night. I think we opened up on a Saturday. I'm not sure about it. It's been 50 years ago, but and
Um,
the weather was nice. We had the air on, and we had like two police officers, and it was good. It was from 8 to 12, I think. 8 to 12, 8 to 11. Not
okay.
sure.
And when I speak to people, people really love the loop rink. What
Yeah,
was it about the loop that made everybody love this rink?
yeah. I've heard that minimum, with no exaggeration, at least 1,000 times. It was a lot. The rink was run like no other rink because of the organization. Everybody that worked there had a jacket. The hair had to be neat and cut. We told them what to say. So it was very, very polished because I had run a rink for 4 years when I got there. So it was very polished. And we hired nice looking people, articulate people, middle class black kids. So we had to jump on everybody, and it was just like uh, we gave away free pop. Back then we'd sell pop for like 50 cents, but it cost us like 4 cents a cup, even
Okay.
with the cup, because and so they didn't know that. So they thought we gave out a lot. My father was making a lot of money as Metropolitan Life, so money wasn't really an issue, and I had money, so very few people open rinks were in the financial situation that we were in.
And what was your father's name?
Richard L. Evans,
Okay.
yeah, he ended up being vice president of Metropolitan Life, and he did a lot of the initial sales work. Uh, we got to a point when we didn't have any openings for a year,
Oh,
and as
at the rink?
at the Loop, yeah,
Oh, the loop. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and then we
I need
had
to be specific. And it
yeah
was it called the loop roller rink? What was the exact name of the rink?
the Loop Roller Disco.
Okay. And was that when you opened it? Was the disco? That was the disco era.
Yes, and that's
So
why we named it.
was that the only type of the, music you played at the loop?
Yeah, when we opened, rap music hadn't hit yet. So we basically played Motown music that had a beat,
Okay.
and it was just wonderful. The words were nice,
Right.
and the beat was nice. The Temptations, Miracles, Donna Ross, that era. It was a wonderful era. In fact, that music still is some of the best music that's ever made. Then rap hit, and they were still making the Motown music, but it wasn't only made Motown. We know switches with rap music. That's what the kids wanted. And a lot of the music we had to censor because of the words and the content,
Of course.
Yeah. But we had great DJs. Michael Tate was fantastic. And of course, Herb Kent, we started a Ramble with 15 people. And when he left, it was 500.
Oh, nice.
Because he was on the air every night. See you at the Loop. And he was there. And we had everybody that was anybody come by the Loop. I mean, it was amazing. Harold Washington used to come by and skate.
Yeah, I heard that he used to roller skate.
Oh, he was good. Yeah, he was good. A lot of people. Walter Payton was a good skater. Reedy Sorey. Uh, Michael Jordan's first wife skated there.
Juanita.
Juanita. Yeah. Yeah. So it was good. It was a good spot, 95th Street. So.
And when in a previous conversation, you said that all the staff members had to know how to manage the place. Could you tell us about
Well, that was a technique that I learned in business school. Everybody that worked there had a day in the month where they were the managers, and they told them what to do. So that means that if anybody didn't show up, everybody knew everybody's job.
nice?
So it looked smooth, and I got a kick out of it. They put a jacket on and said manager, and then let's see, they had like 5 different key positions: the DJ, ticket window person, security, skate guards, and snack bar.
Okay.
And so we instituted a lot of things that other rinks all over the country adapted. So it worked out good. We had most rinks owners didn't have the business experience that my father and I had.
Okay.
So that was one of the reasons why it just took off. And it was the timing was good too. Um, it was that world doesn't exist anymore. How
You
the
know,
world was, it's gone. It doesn't exist. So it's just one of those things. It's just it was the right time, right place. And the location was 2 minutes from the expressway.
right. And you had ample parking, so that
Ample
helps a lot.
parking, and the train was right there, and it's just everything is fell in place. We had a building next door that had a cleaners that we turned into a disco. It's called Disco 25, and it was packed. Every adult session after the adults skated, they went
Hmm.
next door to disco and they had a couple of drinks and
Oh,
danced
that's cool. So that was right next to the rink.
right
So they
next
would
to
leave the rink and go to Disco
less
25.
than 25 feet. Yeah, 30 feet maybe.
And how did you come up with a name for the loop?
Um, don't remember. I think it was because of Chicago, the Chicago Loop.
Okay.
It was the name that everybody knew, just Loop. I know my dad and I were discussing about 15 names. We decided on the Loop. You know.
That actually makes sense. The Chicago loop. Because people will remember it.
Mm-hmm.
The Chicago loop. So, what were some of the biggest rewards of owning the loop?
Well, we put we kept the kids off the street, which was the big deal. Uh, I helped probably 40 of the employees get into colleges,
Nice.
and we did it with the paperwork. Also, financially, we helped people get into schools, and that was a big plus. And then I think we designed 10 rinks all over the country for different people.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things about a rink that you'd only know if you had a rink.
Understood.
security and things like, you know, we did a lot of things. We gave the police a free party if they would come and just spend 15 minutes when the session opened, so the parents would see when they dropped their kids off there was a policeman there,
Nice.
things like that. And we did a lot of things that helped, and we instituted a program in the middle of the session where we would stop the music and let the skate guards clean the floor. And we'd take that time to give people all the announcement of all the parties coming up.
Sweet.
And the reason we did it, not really to clean the floor, but so we get their attention. And we also found by doing that, the snack bar would do 20% more. So we worked it from a lot of different angles, and just worked that we had good people, and it was just the time for it. Roller skating in the '70s was off the chain. There's rinks all over the world. And then the proliferation of guns hurt it when the rap music started.
Hmm.
And you had to deal with that. And we had no problem inside. Sometimes you had a problem on the outside, but we had policemen on the inside and the outside. And it was it was a fun time. Like I said, that world that we were in doesn't exist anymore.
Well, in the course of my research, I actually just finished the ninth. It's on a different side. One moment. I actually just finished the 1970s, right? So in Chicago, there were at least 20 rinks throughout the Chicago, and that included some of the suburbs because a fellow skater gave me old flyers, and that was
Hmm.
how I got the names of a lot of the rinks. But they said we had roller derby, which I guess it was televised in the 70s, roller disco, then there was roller dancing, which was done at the Elm. I know Elm was really popular for roller dancing,
Hmm.
speed racing, and then competitive skating. So
Right.
those were the things that were going on. But then there was also a big, huge boost in outdoor skating
Yes.
during that period. So people did all the things.
Hmm.
I would just say in Chicago. I don't know if this was done in every city. I just know what I found in my research.
Hmm.
So
Well,
that was
Chicago is a skating city because I went all over. Um, I got my pilot's license in 1979, and I got a chance to fly to different rinks in different cities.
nice.
Yeah, and Chicago, Detroit was a big, Detroit, Atlanta, New York, Los Angeles, and it just took the country by storm. They had the public sessions, and then they had the school sessions, and those are really big for us too.
So what made you think? I mean, what do you think made skating a thing in the 1970s? Was it the music?
Basically, the music, yeah,
Because I was
music was fantastic. Yeah.
reading um, a few things, and one person said, and this was, are you familiar with M&R Amusements?
Hmm.
Okay, so they said that they thought Derby was a cause of the rise in skating, but I don't know how popular Derby really was. And it said,
No, I
I
remember
know it was
seeing
televised,
on
but I
Channel
don't know.
26. Yeah, I'm sure it contributed to it.
And then and I said, based on what I researched, that there was a high level of visibility that wasn't there previously. So you saw it in movies, you saw it in TVs. It was a more, you roller skating, there were more commercials. So that I thought that could have been influenced. But then I said, well, I think the biggest contributors was the disco music,
Yeah,
which was an underground form of music that
right,
became mainstream.
right. So
And
there's a lot to
then,
say. A lot of things just fell into place, you know,
hmm
and it was like we could see it, the rinks growing all over the country when we went to the roller rink convention every year in Las Vegas, and I spoke there every year. Um, and it was amazing when people built rinks, didn't know anything about it. You know, a simple example would be like if you had a slanted roof on your building, if you had a wooden floor, you wouldn't put the wooden floor at the tail end of the slant. You put it at the beginning, you know,
right.
so the water run down if you get a leak. Not if it's wind, because all roofs leak. But you get a leak on the wooden floor, and it's an issue, you know.
hmm
And so when you have a slanted roof, you build a rink on the high side, you know. Or when you build from scratch, the bathrooms, you tilt them to the back. So the toilets flood and the sinks flood, the water runs back to the drain and not on your carpet. It ruins your rental skates.
Mm,
There's two simple little things. And there's got to be a minimum of 500 things that you learn that help the rink business. And, you know, there wasn't any books on it or anything like that. And to be quite honest with you, running a rink in a black community is probably twice as hard as running a rink in the general community. You know,
why is that?
it's just the nature of the people that are skating and people that skate. That's all they do in the black community. So you have more of them. The music's different. So you know, we had mixed crowds. Basically, private parties for everybody. You know. Uh, but there's just a difference. I was a policeman for a while in Harvey, and you police communities differently too. You know, people don't know that, but the police don't act the same in different communities. But anyway, so you have to learn that. And in the black community, people skate disproportionately. They skate more. White community, they skate, they bowl, they ice skate, they do
Mm,
other things. But in the hood, as we said, roller skating was it. So that's why the most successful rinks in America were in the black community.
but also another thing about what I discovered about roller rinks too, that they were in the community. So that's probably one
Mhm.
of those that could be a reason why they did it because they could walk to the rink
Yes. Yeah.
versus. And I remember there was a program earlier in the 50s, I believe, where the Board of Education provided like offered after school and weekend programs in roller skating,
Yes.
and the one of the people said they provided it at the schools because well they provided them in the schools in places where there were that lacked other recreational facilities, which I
Mhm.
thought was just absolutely grand. They will never do that now in this political climate in Chicago, but
Exactly.
even just that idea, well, since the park district is not close by, we're going to offer it in this school.
Hmm.
Since this whatever other facility isn't in this neighborhood, well, they walk to school, so let's put it where they are.
Hmm.
And
And
and I think that was another thing, the just the location of it.
yeah, yeah. Like the loop was perfect. It was in 95th and Eggleston. Like I said, 2 minutes from the expressway and 2 minutes from the train. You know,
The red line, the CTA train.
right. So it was just perfect. And we got to a point where we couldn't let in everybody that came. We get to a point we were full. We wouldn't let anybody else in. So
So did you have a lot of well, at some point there was negativity that came with rinks, violence, and that I don't know if music played a part with that. Did you
yes,
have a lot of issues like that?
no,
at the
We
rink?
had very few fights until rap music came.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, we had good police officers. One of the managers was a police officer. I wasn't a policeman at the time. Sylvester Johnson, he was excellent. And he knew how to work with the kids, and we knew what to do. You know, we got to know the people. Um, when we first started, we didn't have a metal detector. Then we got a metal detector. And then we had the wands and stuff. But we
Okay.
didn't have any problems. But the whole culture changed with rap music. It really did. It was night and day. The music promoted violence, as you probably know, rap music.
Right.
And the Motown music promoted love, and so it was, the kids listen to the words. They really do. And so uh, that was the beginning of the decline when rap music hit, you know. Not necessarily the decline, but just the more trouble at the rinks.
I can
But
see, and plus it doesn't. It's not very. I won't say quote unquote skatable, but there's a beat that goes along with it.
yeah,
And I
Motown
don't
was
know if rap. The only
was
thing I can only see rap music catering to that type of music, and catering is not the word. Um, Having that beat, the only time I can see that happening is when the music is sampled, and they're
yeah,
sampling music from the
right.
70s.
They were right. They did it. The initial rap culture was mostly sampling of music, but the Motown had a beat. Barry Gordy did a magnificent job. He brought the races together. And, I think Barry's still alive. I had a chance to meet him a couple of times.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. I met Smokey Robinson. You
And that's through skating or just
it's hard for me to remember now. It's been 50
okay.
some years, but probably through skating or at the convention, the Roller Skating Convention. They had different speakers. And
And who hosted the roller skating convention?
our Roller Skating Rinks of America Association, Roller Rinks of America Association, RSL, RO, Roller Skating Rinks of
Oh, the RSROA,
RSRA, yeah,
the Roller Skate Rink Owners
Association.
Association.
Right.
Okay.
Every year we had a thing in Vegas. They might still have it. I don't know. I've been out of the industry a long time. So
And then when did the loop close? Because you said it
87,
opened in September um, 1976.
December 31st, 1987, it closed. 87.
1987. So you have this. You told me September. Okay, I don't have it.
87.
Okay, but the opening date though.
September
Oh, 19
1976.
September 1976. Okay. And then I asked you what were some of the challenges, I mean, the benefits of some of the more positive things you got from owning the loop. But what are some of the challenges you had?
But the challenges were, to that was back when they had the disciples and the um,
Was it
Blackstone
Blackstone?
Rangers. Yeah. And so we had to keep the gang activity out of there. So uh, we kind of had people infiltrate to find out what was happening with the gangs and kept all that out. Let the people know we come here to skate. And there wasn't a lot of drugs back then, which
Okay.
was good. So it was mostly gangs. Um, but we had police officers in the gang units, you know,
Wonderful.
which helped a lot. So We didn't have a lot of problems at the loop. We didn't have the problems that other people had because we had the money to get this police officer. I know when I left, some sessions we had as many as 10 police officers.
Really?
Yeah. So we had two outside, one at the door, and seven walking around the rink, uniform with their security on jackets, And then we didn't have any problems, so, and when you get to know people, it's easier. There's a secret to everything. Um, it was it was challenging, but it wasn't something that couldn't be done. And we had absolutely no problems on 25 and over. None. With 25 and over, we had 400 people for 4 sessions a week for adults only. And then, so it was pretty good. It worked out good,
So were you guys open every day?
every day,
Was
every
it
day.
all day every day, or did you have morning
Not
sessions
all
some
day, every
days
day.
and or just evening sessions?
Well, we had a set schedule. We had party days, but we got to the point that we would, by February of the year, we had no openings for the whole year because
No.
we had schools. And when the schools came, we brought the teachers lunch. They sat in the air conditioning office, and we ran the sessions for them. So
Oh,
they loved
sweet.
it. Yeah, they loved it. They couldn't wait to come to the loop. We buy them lunch and pop, and probably had beer. I don't know because I let them use my office. And when we ran the session for them, they loved it. And no problems because everybody knew each other.
Right.
So, and there's a lot of money in the private sessions. So it's good. It's good. It was a good business at a good time. Um,
And well, I got notification that we have so many minutes remaining. Well,
yeah.
one of the last questions I wanted to ask for this session is the profitability of the loop because you said it was one of the most profitable rinks at
Yeah,
that
but
time.
yeah, it made a lot of money. We probably made net $15,000 a week.
Oh,
But
that's
back
great.
back back then that was a lot of money. Um, so it did good. With the kids, you made as much at the snack bar as you did the door,
Okay.
and we were making profit $700 a week on the video games, which is a lot of money.
Right, and that's a lot of quarters because that's what it was
Oh,
back then.
and I can't remember. I can remember the kids coming to me, Greg, the game's not working. And we said, we just had it fixed. And I called a guy in, he'd come down anytime. It was jammed with quarters. It was so full, it couldn't take any more quarters. So it was really good. Those middle class kids, they had money.
So you made money at the door from the games, at the snack bar, and from
And the
parties.
and the pro shop.
Oh, in the pro shop.
I sold probably 100,000 pair of skates.
Throughout from the entire time you were open from
Yeah.
76 through okay. And which brand of skates did you normally sell?
Whew, you know what? I should know that, but I forgot.
Was it Rydell?
Yeah, Rydell boot, and there's two kinds of the kids that wanted because they were doing this thing called big wheeling.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you too about JB Skate. Do
yeah,
you have
we'll have to.
any inkling about the beginnings
Oh yeah, I know.
of
We'll have to
JB
cover.
Skate?
We have to cover another session because I gotta.
Okay, well that's our next topic because
Yeah, yeah.
there's a,
Wow.
there was a little controversy. Someone said that they started it, and we can talk about that during our next conversation. But that's great to know because you started in '76, and then you should have an idea of how
Yeah,
things where.
James Brown. He was huge.
Did he ever visit the loop though?
Uh, I think he did. I know I met him 2 or 3 times. Uh, I had a friend in the flight school being his pilot, and he landed at Lansing Airport the same time I was there and got a chance to talk to him. I think that's why I talked to him. This is a private airport for private jets, so
Oh, sweet.
yeah. So, but we'll talk again.
Okay, and we will. And during our next conversation, I would like to talk about the origins of JB Skate and any other topic that comes to mind.
Okay.
All right, thank you for your time, and
All
we'll
right.
talk
Thank you.
again.
Thanks for what you're doing. We appreciate it.
Okay, you have a great evening.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.